Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Roach podcast. And as you can see here, very special guest, very prestigious. Okay. Raptors broadcaster from NBA TV Canada, Sportsnet, TSN, Canada Basketball. I would say more, but it's a pretty short program here. Okay. I cannot continue. This is what you call a real Raptors media OG, an NBA OG, period. The one, the only, the main man, Paul Jones. Paul, my man, thank you for doing this today.
Mike, great to be on with you, man. And it's funny because as I continue to advance down the road in my media career, and I always say to people, you know me, I love golf. I say when it comes to my media career, I'm somewhere around the 16th or 17th hole. I'm almost at the end, man. The round is almost over, and I look at guys like you in the business, and I say, you're still on the front nine, my man. You're still on the front nine. So it's nice to be able to talk about the game with my longevity. And somebody we were talking with some people from Charlotte last night, and one of the guys said, "How long you been here?" I said, "Since day one." I called Eddie Pinckney against Yinka Dare in the jump ball against the New
Oh,
Jersey
man.
Nets. I mean, and I've seen it all, Mike. And just when you think you've seen it all, something happens that you say, "Man, that's a first." So good to still be here, and fortunate to have the chair I have.
Listen, Paul, you said 16th or 17th hole. You've been here from day one. Don't scare us, okay? I don't want to be at Scotiabank Arena or watch the Raptors or be around them without my man Paul Jones there. Please
Well,
don't talk about 16th and 17th hole.
I'm
You're
hanging
making
in
me
there.
scared.
I'm hanging in there as long as I can, Mike. As long as I can keep swinging the clubs, I'm there.
Okay, so now here's something. Here's where I got to start here, Paul, because something doesn't add up here. Okay, and like me, the Raptors, not just people in Toronto, but the Raptors universe need to understand something. So I want to start here. How are you on the 16th and 17th hole? And you've looked exactly the same for 30 years. Make it make sense. You and the
Well,
great Isaiah Thomas. What kind of supplements are you guys taking here? What's going on?
well, I try to stay healthy, try to exercise. I'm still at my playing weight from university. Um, I got young kids that keep me young and keep me in the know. I'm still at the point, Mike, now where I hip when I should hop, and I hop when I should hip. But I do my best to stay in shape, keep up with the news, keep current, and you know, just just kind of grow old gracefully. That's what I'm trying to do.
Listen, you are a man that is very blessed, and I'm hoping the rest of us can do the same. Okay. But I want to start here, Paul. Raptors, they lose the last 4 out of 5 games.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they've lost some tough ones. We got blown out a couple times as well. But you and I mentioned it right before we came on today. This is why you need to go out there and get games early, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What's your analysis here? We lose 4 out of the last 5 games. Where are the Raptors right now?
Well, Mike, and you said it best. Put your pennies in the bank because at some point you're going to have to make a withdrawal. And those games that you're in the playoff race or you're jockeying for position in the middle of March and early April when the season's winding down, and you look and you say, "Oh, we need this one." Well, you also probably needed the one back in November or December that you let get away.
Mhm.
So I like where they are right now. They've come out of the gate strong. They're 15-8, 15-9 now after last night's loss. But they've done a good job considering they've already got more wins on the road in the first 15, 20 games. What are they now on the road? I'm not looking at my numbers, but the Raptors started 0-10 on the road last year and 1-19. One win in their first 20. Now, they were injured. They had a
Mhm.
very difficult road schedule, but they've got seven wins on the road right now. And the recent stint of losing 4 and 5 is partially the schedule maker that's
Mhm.
given them a back-to-back on the road a day off, a game at home, a day off, and then another back-to-back. That's 5 and 7 nights. And, people talk about, this is why people do load management. I don't like it, but I get it. So you're 5 and 7 nights. You've got a couple of tough opponents in there. The Laker loss was a real kind of kick in the teeth. And I'll say this, overriding all of that, Michael, the loss of RJ Barrett is really starting to show now. It really is. You look at the numbers have gone down, offensive rating, fast break, all of these things have gone down. And while people sometimes decry RJ's play, wait a minute, you're seeing his value right now and how important he is, that he's not present. He's not there to help out. He's not there to put his head down and get downhill and create for other people or be on the finishing end. Remember, when they beat Charlotte in Toronto, Brandon Ingram was double teamed and he swung the ball to a cutting RJ Barrett who laid it in. Like,
Correct.
those are the things that he does that don't always show up in the stat sheet, or people look at, he'll do it 5 times and he'll get it right 4 times. And the one time there's a mistake, they'll say, oh, see, that's a bad play. Well, wait a minute. It wasn't a bad play the other 4 times. So they're really missing him. They are really missing him. And I can't overstate that enough.
Yeah, and the question that I was going to ask you next going into that was about RJ Barrett, because how do teams have to adjust when he's in the lineup? And one of the main things is, and Leo talked about this, RJ doesn't wait around and wait for things to happen.
No. He's up and cracking, and he's got a lot of gravity, Mike. He gets the ball and he's getting to the cup. He's getting downhill. And if he's got a one-on-one matchup, he's going to score, or he's going to get to the free throw line. And if they cut him off, he'll make the pass. He'll make the right play. And this is something that people, who don't watch RJ suddenly, saw as a revelation last year. Hey, wait a minute. Look, the guy can pass. Well, he always could. And the problem was when he was in New York with Brunson and Julius Randle, he had to stand in the corner and wait for the ball. And Mike, we know when you play and you don't touch the ball frequently and you kind of run up and down and do your job, but don't feel part of the action. Sometimes when a guy gets the ball, he says, hey, it's my turn now. Yeah. And it's not always ideal for what's going on, but the guy wants to feel needed. He wants to do something. He wants to contribute, so he's come to Toronto. He's in a much better space. And to Leo's point, and Leo knows this as a coach and a guy who's played, he's in a better place mentally, knowing that he can contribute. And if he gives the ball up, he's going to get it back. He's rebounding more. He's worked on his catch and shoot over the summer. He has been a really, really key piece. And I expect this team to kind of get back into their groove when RJ comes back into the lineup.
So, Paul, you mentioned that, these guys, they look tired out there at times. You can see, some of the fatigue. Yeah. And a guy like Brandon Ingram, he only played 18 games last year. And this from a guy, you've represented this country. You played collegiate basketball. You've been around basketball and NBA pros your entire career. The best way for you to be in game shape is to play in games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how hard is it for a guy like Darko when your guys are fatigued? But everybody is. There's no excuse. This is the NBA. Your guys are fatigued, but at the same time, you need them out there, right?
Yeah.
How do you get that balance?
I think that's the art. They always say that coaching there's the art and science of coaching. The science is the numbers and all the analytics that are chewed up and spit out. But the art is gauging your players and how they feel. And does this guy have it tonight? Does he need a rest? Does he need a break? All of those things are important. And there are times when, Darko, look, listen, every player wants to play, Mike. No guy wants to come off the court. And we see it at times when a guy's on the court and he sees somebody ready to sub in for him. He all of a sudden gets a few extra shots up or tries to make an extra play here or there because he knows he's coming out. So if you were to ask Brandon Ingram, he wants to play. You ask these guys, they want to play. And I think you just leave that judgment to the head coach. You leave it to Darko as to, and his assistants. Does this guy have it tonight? Does he need a break? And you're right. The best way to play, to get in shape, Mike, is to play. And I think some of the injuries now that are happening in the NBA is because guys don't play enough in the offseason. They work out, but they don't play enough. And I'm not saying you have to play all the time in the offseason, but get the odd pickup run in. There's Rico Hines has those famous runs out in LA. Show up a couple days, go for a week, play 3 times, But to your original question, I think that's the coaching staff. I think it's the art of coaching there. And for the most part, Darko's done a pretty good job. He's got a good bench. He's using it well. I just think right now the schedule maker hasn't been kind to the Raptors, but thankfully they put some pennies in the bank, and they're still sitting 3rd, 4th overall in the East. And the East is tough though, Mike. You lose 3 in a row, you can go from 2nd or 3rd to 8th just that quickly. So hopefully the Raptors can get it together, get some rest, and get back on track.
Now, Paul, aside from RJ Barrett, right? Jakob Poeltl is a guy that I love, and I talk about him all the time as a guy who just reminds me as he clocks into work. He has his pail, his lunch pail, and his hard hat, and he goes in. He does his job. He clocks out and he plays the game the way it needs to be played and sticks within what he can do. What makes me nervous is when Jakob Poeltl is not there, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that we need some type of a backup big / center?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Michael. I mean, you're all over this one with your GM hat on. The numbers, I mean, we can see what Poeltl does, but the numbers are pronounced when he is not in the lineup for Toronto in terms of points in the paint overall. And, our graphics guy, Johnny Russin, calls it the Poeltl factor. The Raptors are 27th when he misses games in points in the paint, and they're 6th when he plays. And when he's in there, just him, they're 3rd. So he's big. As much as the game has gone pace and space and shooting the 3, it's still a big person's game. There's a premium on big people. And Bobby Webster would be well advised. And listen, I know if we can see it, Mike, you can bet the guy who's the GM can see it. And so he's probably out there beating the bushes, looking for a big guy to back up. And I'm not into fantasy trades. I don't use the trade machine, but hey man, I'd be calling New Orleans and say, can we make a deal for Kevon Looney? Who's been in a winning organization.
That's a good suggestion. I haven't heard that one.
Who makes plays from the high post, who rebounds, protects the rim, smart player. Can we, but I'm not giving up a lot because this team's only been together for a quarter of the season. I want to see what they have. So there's a balance there. The Clippers are the ship is not, it's going through some rough waters. Hey, I wonder what Brook Lopez. I wonder what it might take to get a Brook Lopez. Just somebody like that. Go over to Greece and Panathinaikos and see if Rashawn Holmes, you can pry him away. A guy who's rugged. He's 6 fouls. He'll rebound for you. He'll set hard screens. He'll play the defense back there. Like that's the kind of subtle pickup that you need, where people don't go, oh, wow, but it's a big piece for your team. So, and again, I'm not into fantasy trades, but guys of that ilk, I think would be helpful for Toronto.
No, I'm glad you mentioned those things, Paul, because I mean, I've been talking to you for more than a decade now at these Raptors games. And, I know how much you know about the game of basketball. And so on the last podcast, I was mentioning how much little things matter, right? When you're trying to win games. And so I talk about the importance of physicality and toughness. Can you tell me how important it is to have a team that's physical and have a certain element of toughness that comes with it?
Well, I'll just point to one team that I really like, but I think they're missing it, and it's held them back the last couple of years, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mm.
Great, skilled people. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley's really improved his game. He's stretching out, shooting the three now. Donovan Mitchell is one of the most dynamic players going. Darius Garland, but I just think there's an element of toughness, of hit back that is sometimes, not always, but is sometimes missing with Cleveland. And you look at a team like Indiana that has that, and they don't have big bruising guys, but
Yeah.
Pascal will hit you back. Andrew Nemhard will hit you back. They've got they've got guys like Neesmith and these guys. They're not afraid. They're okay to get down and dirty. You want to roll up the sleeves and play like that? Okay, we can do that. So I think it is important, Mike, because there are times when, and the words of the great Charles Oakley always ring with me. On first play of the game, when that shot goes up, I hit that guy right across from me. and if he backs up, I say, okay, I'm going to eat for free tonight. If he hits back, okay, I'm going to have to work for my dinner tonight. So there's an element of toughness there and physicality that I think is still pertinent and important in the game that you need, even in today's game where it's fast paced and shooting the three. And I look at a team like the Houston Rockets, how tough they are.
Yes.
How physical they are. So it's important, Mike. It really is. And I just think I look at the Detroit Pistons, the team that's leading the East right now, how they've developed that with Jalen Duren and our Jamaican bad boy Isaiah Stewart.
Two physical specimens right there.
Yeah, and Thompson will guard you, and Cade Cunningham doesn't shy away from contact. So it is important, Mike. You pointed it out, and I think every team, winning teams, have it in varying doses and degrees when they need it.
Paul, I got three more for you. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm taking kind of long here. I know we're supposed to go.
No. Hey man, we're talking basketball. We're not performing surgery. It's okay.
Listen, I got to squeeze as much out as you as I can before I get you on next time. Okay. I want to go here first before I get to Brandon Ingram and identity. I've seen the Raptors now in a few games go on these scoring droughts of about 4 minutes apiece. What do you do in that situation when things are tough for you? You're trying to grind out a basket. Your offense doesn't look cohesive. You seem like you're out of sync. How can you shorten those scoring droughts?
Yeah, the blackouts. Listen, I think Darko is good at his after timeout stuff, and that can get you one. But in the body of the game, I think you have to remind your team to go back to the concepts that made you successful, moving the ball and moving people and not having it stick. And, I famously remember one of my days as an early courtside reporter, being in the back of the Lakers huddle, and the great Phil Jackson, he said to me before the game, I just don't want to look up and see you right in the back of my huddle. Stand to the side, move to the side. And so he sat in the huddle, and I was looking into the huddle, and he turned his clipboard around, and he had the big number 7 on it, and he showed it to the players. He said, 7, I want 7. Remember, before we do anything, I want 7. And they came to me from the TV truck, said, well, let's get us what do you say in the huddle? Give us a report. I'm like, he didn't say anything. He just kept saying 7. And when I caught somebody's eye and kind of said, like, what is he talking about? Before I went on to he wanted 7 passes before the shot. And he wanted at least 1 or 2 of those passes to be touched in the paint. So it's as simple as that, Mike. Move the ball, try to get it to the basket, try to touch the paint. And if you spray it out or kick it out, somebody will have an open shot that you would feel or hope would resemble a shot that they are familiar with in practice, with nobody guarding them or minimal distraction or issues in terms of people guarding them. minimal duress, and then knock it down. And let's go back to 3 questions. That's where an RJ Barrett comes in and helps you out.
Yeah. Yeah. RJ, boy, I mean, one of those, he's one of those pieces. I mean, you know how good he is, but it's one of those things you don't really get it until he ain't there.
Exactly.
You know?
Totally.
And speaking of RJ, he makes things easier for Brandon Ingram, right? And so, what have you realized about Brandon Ingram offensively since RJ's been out the lineup?
Well, he could use the help in terms of the gravity that RJ draws on the court, but Brandon Ingram is a bucket getter. I mean, I am flummoxed, Mike. I'm surprised when he walks a guy down and gets into the lane or gets into the mid range and shoots that turnaround. I'm shocked when it doesn't go in, because when he does it, it looks like he's playing against me or you. Like it looks like something that he does in practice every day in the summer. And it doesn't matter that there's an NBA guy guarding him. He walks him down. He gets into his mid-range package, turnaround jumper, and I'm surprised when it doesn't go down. I think he's grasping the other parts of things too. He's become a much better rebounder. I know the coaching staff has spoken to him, challenged him about being a better rebounder. Yeah. He's more and more unselfish. He's passing the ball. He's attracting double teams. Think about the game against Brooklyn. They ran the same play twice in a row for him, 3 times in a row. He scored once to tie the game. The next 2 times he was double teamed. The first time he kicked it out to Quickly, who made a 3. The next time they double teamed him, he kicked it out to Shed, who swung it to Quickly, who made another 3. So he's not afraid to give it up, and he's really bought into the team concept. So I'm just learning that this guy he's a hooper. He loves to play, and he's going to give you everything he has out there. And it's for him. It's important it's all about the winning.
Last question here, Paul. When it comes to the identity of teams, right? Is identity something that you create, or is identity something that kind of creates itself because of the type of players that you have?
I think it's something that you strive to create, and you acquire the type of players to help you create that, or you mold the players. Hopefully they're malleable enough to be molded and conformed into the way you want to play. And I think the Raptors have done that the last couple of years with the people that they've acquired, and the way Darko has been leading them, and certain philosophies and traits that he has instilled. You have a team that the 4 in the last 5 notwithstanding, Scotty Barnes, Defensive Player of the Month. You have a team that's rooted in defense. They want to play fast. You can see Darko said, I want the ball over center in 2 to 3 seconds. And the Raptors at one point, I think it was 4 or 5 games ago, were in the top third of the league, using just over half the shot clock, using 13 seconds to squeeze off a shot. So it plays to your advantage that way, and it wears the other teams down. And we could see that happening when the Raptors were healthy and rested. Now you're going to have to fight through some of that, but I think your identity is you have a philosophy of the way you want to play. You acquire those players. You try to forge that identity. And sometimes if you acquire the right players with that philosophy, it's the second part of what you said, Mike. It'll come out of who you have on the floor.
Yeah. Appreciate it. The great OG, Paul Jones. Paul, we're looking to see you for another 30 years working for the Raptors, please.
I'm hanging in as long as I can, Mike. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it. Paul Jones, everyone.